pilot has overshot the runway there amidst heavy rainfall that's taken place. We're trying to get you as many details as possible. The person on board 191 says that he suspects casualties. Air India Express plane skidded during landing at Karipur Airport in Calicut, Kozhikode. The Air India flight was on its way from Dubai. According to KJ Alphonse, former tourism minister, the pilot has died in the mishap and the plane split into two after skidding from the runway. This was an Air India Express plane from Dubai to Kozhikode. Remember, a number of people have been coming in during these COVID times on these special flights that Air India has been carrying out into Kerala. Those are the troubling images that we are getting. We can only pray at this moment that the casualties are as low as possible. There are no fatalities, is what we can only pray at the moment. We're trying to get you more details on this tragic incident. I'm going back to Preeti Chaudhary, who's giving me more information from the newsroom. Yes, Preeti.
You know, Rajdeep, what's one of the main reasons now that has been given? Once again, there is no official word on, what went down, but the tabletop runway at Calicut is one of the most dangerous. This is not the first time we've had an aviation incident at the tabletop runway in Calicut. You know, I'm just going through some kind of, the information right there. There have been many, many mishaps earlier. The airport strip is extremely dangerous to maneuver, this could be one of the reasons, especially in the heavy downpour, that the accident took place. The plane skid off. There is also word coming in right now that the plane actually plunged 30 feet below. That's why it split, because it didn't crash land. It just skid off the runway. But the maximum damage which has occurred, and we are getting in more information, occurred when the plane from the tabletop, it's just a tiny strip, it's a tabletop runway, it's at a huge height. So the plane, actually landed, skid off, and then plunged 30 foot below. That is where it split up near the cockpit, which has now resulted in the death of the pilot.
Stop you, Preeti, for a moment, because Gopi Krishnan Unithan, our man in Kerala, is getting us more details. Gopi, what information do you have for us?
Well, Rajdeep, we have now been told that additional forces have been rushed to the area because this was not really, the airport wasn't really completely prepared to handle a damage of this severity is what...
Good evening. It has been a tragic Friday for Kerala and all of India after being pounded by torrential rains and 15 lives being lost due to landslides set off by these torrential rains. Now there has been a plane crash at the Kozhikode airport, a plane that skidded after it landed on the tarmac at the Kozhikode airport and then veered off the tarmac, falling into the gorges on both sides of the tarmac. This is a tabletop landing on a tabletop airport similar to the Mangalore airport, not as difficult a place to land as the Mangalore airport, but similar in many ways. So the big story at this hour, an Air India Express flight with 191 passengers or persons on board en route from Dubai landed in Kozhikode and skidded off the runway while landing at Kerala's Kozhikode on Friday evening around 7:40 p.m. And we are now hearing that one of the pilots of the aircraft is believed to have been killed in the accident. Let's go across to Vishnu Som for more. Vishnu, what are you learning about the injuries and if there are casualties?
All right. Well, what we can tell you at this stage, and this is information which we can confirm, is that one of the pilots is a retired Indian Air Force wing commander and experimental test pilot. I've actually sent across photographs of the pilot. I believe you can run those photographs as well. Just in terms of the name of the pilot who was in command, he was an ex-Indian Air Force wing commander who joined Air India on deputation to Air India Express. Wing Commander Deepak Vasant Sathe was one of the pilots. We can confirm that he was at the controls of he was the chief pilot flying left-hand at the time of the incident. The co-pilot was somebody who I'm told got married very recently. We do not know at this stage the fate of these two pilots. There are some reports which are very discouraging. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything further, but I put up the photo of one of the pilots on the reporters group. If we can actually have that up as well, because this is something that's now been confirmed by Air India. I've also got details on mentioned a retired wing commander of the Indian Air Force, a test pilot, a very senior test pilot as well, a very experienced pilot. The co-pilot was Captain Akhilesh Kumar. The crew members on board the aircraft were Shilpa Katare, Akshay Pal Singh, Lalit Kumar, and Abhik Biswas. A total of 6 crew members on board this aircraft. Right, we've got that photograph on board. I can confirm that this is an image of the commander of the aircraft, Deepak Vasant Sate, a retired wing commander of the Indian Air Force, a test pilot at that, very experienced, left the Air Force, joined Air India, was in Air India Express. Now, in terms of the incident itself, as we have been mentioning, I'm just going to go through the statement which we have so far, because that really does sort of summarize the situation so far. An Air India Express flight IX-1344 operated by a Boeing 737 aircraft from Dubai to Calicut overshot the runway at Kozhikode at 17:41 hours. In other words, 7:41. No fire reported at the time of the landing. There was 174 passengers, 10 infants, 2 pilots, and 5 cabin crew on board the aircraft. A correction, 4 cabin crew on board the aircraft. As per the initial reports, rescue operations are on and passengers are being taken to hospital for medical care. We've already seen images a little while earlier on, Sarah, of a lot of these individuals who were rescued being taken away to hospital. So this is an important clarification that not 5 cabin crew, Sarah, 4 cabin crew on board. So I'll repeat the overall numbers: 164 passengers, 10 infants, 2 pilots, and 4 members on.
All right.